You know, it's truly a miracle what happened. Back in 2006, BYD did make crap cars. They really weren't very good. But somehow, the CEO of the hedge fund, Himalayan Capital, convinced Charlie Munger to get Warren Buffett to invest into BYD. Now, at that time, this was a pretty risky investment. I mean, BYD, what were they doing? I mean, what had they done? This obscure business in China. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett from Berkshire Hathaway, these guys are worth more than $100 billion. They fly to China, convinced by this CEO of Himalayan Capital that they should do it based on pretty much a whim. Now, they ended up being one of the greatest investments of the 21st century, and it paid off in basically Berkshire Hathaway making this brilliant move, making billions of dollars of profits after selling off some of their stock, to the point where now they're looked at as geniuses for making that move. So what changed at BYD and how did it all happen? BYD, these numbers are, well, they're going to blow a lot of people's minds. I mean, talk about crazy figures here. BYD just sold more than 500,000 EVs and plug-in hybrids in the month of October. The CEO of BYD, he said it around the beginning of this year that BYD was going to slay the legacy automakers in China, and essentially he hinted at his idea was to get rid of them, just kick them out of China. I mean, he didn't say that in those words, but basically he was saying, yeah, he was going to take the axe to the competition, essentially. And he was referring to foreign automakers. You know what? Wang Shanfu, I made a video about him 4 years ago, about his biography, about what happened to him. He was an orphan. His sister raised him. Truly remarkable story. And what a truly remarkable man. Some of the things that I've heard about this guy, some of the stuff he did. I mean, when he had very little money, more than 20 years ago, he buys a Mercedes S-Class. And the company at the time was in trouble. I mean, their EVs were trash. Their cars were trash. They were. Elon Musk said this, and he was right. Elon Musk was right. The media have said Elon Musk said BYDs suck. Elon Musk wasn't referring to BYDs today. Elon Musk has said many times BYD is a great car company. Not just a car company, it's a great company. They're big competitors, big rivals to us. Right? He said this about what BYD used to be, and the CEO of BYD would totally agree with Elon Musk. He's right. Back then, their cars, they were rubbish. He takes this new S-Class that he's bought, and he says to his engineers, just strip the thing apart, piece by piece, re-engineer it. We want to make cars like this. We need to see how they do it. We need to copy them. We need to re-engineer this and try and make it even better if we can. His engineers looked at him like, no, we're not touching that. This is Mercedes-Benz S-Class. You don't do that. That's sacrilege. Pulls out his driving car keys, scratches the hell out of the car, just scratches every panel on the car, and he says, well, will you do it now? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Thank you for supporting the channel on Patreon, YouTube members. I really appreciate your support. And it has enabled me to do this, to make this dream come true of talking about electric cars and renewable energy and solar. And speaking of solar, if you want to get a solar system installed, do it, please. If you're a friend of mine and you haven't done it yet and I've been telling you to do it, you know who you are, please call this company. They are the best in Australia. They've got the best reviews in Australia. And they do. They've got the best reviews, period, hands down. They've got like 2,000 Google reviews of 5 stars. Ridiculous. Anyway, use them. I'll put a link in the description below. Get a solar system, get an EV. Just, let's change the world one household at a time. BYD. They just broke records. And this company is selling more cars in a single month than it did in the whole year 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, BYD sold less cars in the entire year than what they just sold in the month of November. The crazy thing is, back then, BYD was still selling just shitbox internal combustion cars. When I say shitbox, I mean, my goodness, you wouldn't want one of these things. If someone gave you one, you wouldn't want it. So what happened? I mean, how did they turn things around so fast? Well, for one, the CEO was like, you know what? We got to get rid of internal combustion. This is not the future. The Chinese government doesn't want it. Consumers don't want it. It's not very good. I mean, plug-in hybrids aren't, in my opinion, the future, but still, they are certainly a good stopgap measure until BYD has their Blade battery version 2, one that, well, I think once, all the BYD's electric cars have version 2 Blade batteries, there'd be no logical reason to buy a plug-in hybrid. But anyway, at the time, they knew they didn't have those batteries that were good enough. They weren't making enough Blade batteries. They didn't even have the Blade battery back then, but they were working on it. And they released the Blade battery, and that helped to transform the company. People started saying, hang on a minute, these cars with these batteries are actually really good. It's not just BYD's marketing. And since then, BYD has sold on product, not on marketing, on product. Yes, there is a fair bit of marketing. They do spend a lot of money on marketing. In fact, a crazy amount of money on marketing here in Australia. And guys, my shout out to BYD, guys. This money you guys are spending on marketing, it is mental. It is stuff that does not make sense, guys. You cannot have good data. I encourage BYD in China, have a look at what companies are spending, especially here in Australia, on marketing. Have a look at the ROI. Your ROI matters. My background's marketing, and I know your ROI on a lot of the marketing you're doing is trash. It's absolutely terrible. You can do better. And don't get me wrong, this car company is phenomenal. Look at their sales. Look at all their models they're bringing out. Bring out new models constantly to meet all these different market segments. Bring out this new plug-in hybrid pickup truck, which people are just saying is fantastic. Yeah, marketing, they can do better. Anyway, let's have a look at which cars are selling the best. First of all, for the first time ever, BYD has sold more than 500,000 vehicles in a single month. By the way, they also broke their revenue record. Their net profit increased by 12% in the third quarter of this year. And in the third quarter, they topped Tesla in revenue for the first time in history, while still making a profit. Not a very big profit, but still making a profit. So BYD's sales continue to increase. And that means they're actually up 67% on sales in the same month last year. Last year, in the same month, they sold a record number of cars, 302,000. Right? This year, a record number of cars, and they sell 502,000. 302,000, 502,000. So they sold 200,000 more cars. Now, imagine if you're one of their rivals and you could say, I sold 200,000 more cars in a single month versus last year. Yeah, no one else can say that. Only BYD can say that anywhere in the world. BYD's sales actually have grown. That means from last month, the month of September, they're up 20% versus September. I think they're probably going to grow another 20% in November, meaning in November they'll probably sell around, well, just under 600,000 vehicles. That's my prediction. Let's see if that happens. That means BYD is actually on track to become the third largest automaker in the world by the end of this year. And I stand by my prediction that I made, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? I think it was 3 years ago, that BYD would become the largest automaker in the world. Now, at that time, I said it would be BYD and Tesla. Now, I think we can thoroughly rule out Tesla. Tesla's goal is clearly not to sell 10 million cars a year, but to work on full self-driving and robotics and that sort of stuff. So let's move away from the Tesla story for big numbers of sales. But BYD in 2030, I predict, will be selling, and I did back then, 10 million cars per year, replacing Toyota. And Toyota will probably fall to be more of a niche automaker, maybe along the lines of Nissan sales. Their debt will probably be rated like junk, as Nissan's is today, and all that will be a big issue for Japan to deal with. Hopefully it won't affect the rest of us, but I'm afraid it probably will. Anyway, getting back to BYD's sales, their commercial vehicle sales have grown significantly as well. BYD's EV sales, are they up? Well, actually, yes, they are. In fact, of those 500,000 vehicles, 190,000 were passenger EVs. That's up 15% from a year ago. So BYD's EV sales have grown 15% from a year ago, or 14.6%. Meaning, yeah, I know BYD's EVs haven't been a priority for the company because they're selling a lot more plug-in hybrids. But I think BYD are kind of going to change that soon, because yeah, it's true that their EV technology is kind of falling behind some of their rivals. We say that about Tesla when it happens to Tesla, so it should be fair we say that about BYD when it happens to BYD, and it's the case for BYD. The Blade battery is obviously now old technology. It was great when it was released 4 years ago, and that's why they have the Blade battery version 2. I predict that'll be in a lot of their cars next year, and then they'll start to regain some of their prestige in the EV market and increase their EV sales at the same time. Let's have a look at their model breakdown. BYD Song, which is predominantly a plug-in hybrid, they broke a record for Song sales with 120,000 in a single month. That's That's an 80% year-on-year growth figure. Amazing numbers there. The BYD Chin, they sold around 90,000 of the BYD Chin, and that is huge increase as well. They have an upgraded version of the Chin. They have an EV version and a plug-in hybrid version. It's primarily the plug-in hybrid version that is selling. The BYD Seal, they sold 60,000 BYD Seals, which is amazing. Like, guys, I reported on the BYD Seal being a flop in China because it was. Look at these sales numbers, right? It's released in August of 2022. Sales then at 10,000. Now we're seeing 15, then 10, then 9, then 8, then 9, then 8, then 7, 6, 5. Then it goes up a bit to 20,000. But that was about the time they were selling them everywhere around the world, like in 30 different countries. And so the sales are still pretty bad. Then they flopped back down to 10,000, 10,000. And then all of a sudden, what happened? I don't know what happened, but their sales rocketed up to 60,000 a month for like the last 3 months. So the BYD Seal goes from being, really, it was a failure in terms of the car company would have thought, we're making this good new EV, it looks really good, reviewers say it's a good car, it's not selling. All of a sudden, that's totally changed over the last, really, let's say the last 5 months. BYD Yen. So the BYD Yen is actually the Atto 3. So BYD Atto 3 sales have also been great over the past month. They reached a new record, which was 56,000. BYD Seagull, good sales for the Seagull at about 54,000 for October. That's 24.75% increase year over year. To tell you the truth, if I was BYD, I wouldn't really want to sell that many Seagulls. I don't think they make any profit on selling a Seagull. They start at about $11,000 is the cheapest version of the car. It's more like a car to get people into the brand. You buy the cheap car and then you end up buying a better one because, in a few years' time you get another job and rah. Anyway, BYD Han. So the BYD Han is the BYD's electric sedan. There's an electric version and a plug-in hybrid version. Han sales, the Han is kind of an older car, but they had a good month. 30,000 sales for the BYD Han. The Chaser 05 is a plug-in hybrid. They sold 22,000 for the Chaser 05. BYD Dolphin sales, that's been the one disappointment, I think, for BYD. That's the global EV, but it hasn't really done that well. It did actually last year. This year, it hasn't. So I think BYD are working on an upgraded version of the Dolphin. They delivered, I believe, 21,700 worldwide and in China in the month of October. BYD Sea Lion. BYD delivered 19,200 Sea Lions, so that's their new vehicle. That's going to be like their competitor to the Tesla Model Y. Deliveries at this point in time have only been in China, so good numbers for just being in China at 20,000. That will be a global vehicle being built in both right and left-hand drive. BYD Tang, they're primarily a plug-in hybrid. It's kind of an older vehicle now. There's also been some negativity. There was a bunch of fires with these in China, so that's probably hurt their sales a little bit. But anyway, 15,000 of the BYD Tang. BYD E2, that sold 400, down 60% year over year. So the E2 is just, they're probably just going to get rid of stock they've got and then get rid of that model. Now they've got the BYD Frigate 07, not really selling. That sold 265, down 94%. The BYD Dynasty lineup, as per CNET Post, that includes the brands Denza, the Yangwang brand, and the Fangcheng Bao brand. So very kind of odd names, branding names. I'm not sure why they chose those. But anyway, the Denza brand, Yangwang, and the Fangcheng Bao brand, they increased good numbers sales from these guys. They had 250,000 deliveries between, they had about 17,000 deliveries between those three premium brands. So to break them down, the BYD Denza, they had 11,000 or 7,800 deliveries in October, which was down 6%. The BYD Denza brand was originally owned as a 50-50 joint venture between Mercedes-Benz and BYD. BYD bought the company out to be 90% owned by BYD, 10% Mercedes, but now BYD, I believe, own the final 10%. So it's 100% owned now by BYD. Denza, their sales have been not bad. Probably not quite as many as they expected, but they do have three premium brands. So there's probably a bit of brand dilution going on here. Fangcheng Bao, they delivered 5,422, which was the best month ever for the Fangcheng Bao brand. So Fangcheng Bao, they make the Bao 3, the Bao 5, the kind of plug-in hybrid, boxy looking, kind of Jeep looking type SUVs. And I've got to say, I really quite like the look of them. They are meant to be coming to global markets over the next 12 months. Yangwang, that's their super premium luxury brand. not selling many of those. They only sold, I believe, how many was it? It was exactly 282. 265 of those were the U8, the off-road SUV, which looks amazing. I saw one of those driving through a river, which was deeper than the car. They can float. They literally can float. So I saw a video on Facebook of someone driving one of them just down a river, and yeah, like nothing was happening. It was really weird. It was amazing. So they sold 282 of those. They start, I believe, at about 130, 140,000 US dollars in China. They sold 17 of the U9 electric supercar. So that's their amazing electric supercar, amazingly heavy, amazingly fast, amazingly scary. But yeah, that's the Yang Wang brand. Total of 282 deliveries. Don't make up a big segment of the BYD company, but of course, important to build the brand with luxury cars, supercars. That's the way BYD feels. And hey, they're capable of making whatever car they want and putting everything out so quickly. It's amazing. So where do I see BYD heading from here? Well, BYD clearly will hit their goal of selling more than 4 million cars this year, which is even more than twice as many cars as what Tesla will sell this year. Clearly, BYD are focusing on volume, getting their brand out worldwide. And if you think about the company, the success has been remarkable. 4 years ago, pretty much no one in Australia knew who they were. Now, if I say anything negative, well, people get worked up. That means it's a good thing. There's so many people now to become big fans of the company, ambassadors of the brand. And BYD just revealed the new plug-in hybrid Shark pickup truck in Australia for sale. It's the fastest selling debut ute pickup truck I think ever in Australian history. It crashed the website. It was so popular. What more can I say? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.